So as many people have heard, we're finally getting a reprint of The One Ring. It'll be coming in a box topper from The Hobbit. And who's doing the art but Dan Frazier, one of the most iconic artists that Magic has had in the last 30 years. He did all 5 of the Moxes and countless other cards in his repertoire. But we finally get to see that art, and what do we see but something unsettling, something disappointing. It looks almost the same as the last One Ring, like a little too almost the same. The shadings a little too close. The shadows are all precisely the same. Seems down to the stroke. And would Wizards allow this through if it was plagiarism? Would Dan Frazier plagiarize another artist's work so blatantly and think that we wouldn't know? Well, we finally have a statement from Dan and Wizards themselves, and here's how it reads. A message from Dan Frazier and Wizards of the Coast. Recently, fans noticed the similarities between The One Ring by Marta Neal and the newly released image of The One Ring by Dan Frazier. Those similarities are not coincidental, unfortunately. This seems to be more than just some similarities to me, but let's see what happens in the rest of the statement. From Dan. I made a mistake. I feel awful. I especially feel for Marta, whose work I adore. I'm in trying to create the iconic version of The One Ring while looking at references online. I ended up using Marsha's ring as a reference and printed over it trying to depict the image that fans hold so dear in their hearts. In doing so, I did not make it my own. I'm reaching out to Marsha privately to apologize artist to artist. I love creating art for Magic. I've loved being a part of this artist community for more than 30 years, and I'm sorry I let my fans down. I personally am extremely let down because I have always been a fan of Dan's work, and now I have to ask the question, how much of Dan's work was Dan's work? And it brings up hard feelings every time I want to play those iconic cards that I've loved for years and years. On top of that, this doesn't feel as if it was a full apology. For me, it feels kind of like, oh, I didn't mean to accidentally, oops, I stole your work. And that doesn't seem like the most earnest response that Marta deserves. Lastly, we have a statement from Wizards of the Coast themselves, and here's how that goes. Dan Frazier is a titan of the art industry and of Magic the Gathering. He has created so many iconic pieces of art for the game that he will forever be a part of our game, and we value his contribution tremendously. With that in mind, we are disappointed. Our review process didn't catch these issues, so they're saying that they should have caught it too. That definitely should have happened, Wizards. Definitely should have happened. Like Dan, we have already reached out to apologize to Marta Neal for not catching the use of her art in this place. None of this was intentional, but we're going to make it right. As much as we can on digital versions of the card, we will credit both Dan Frazier and Marta Neal. We will also make sure Marsha is compensated for her own work here. So Marsha's going to get paid. Marta's getting paid. That is the one thing here that I feel is really important. Marta's getting paid. So get that money, girl. We want that. This is a good moment to recognize that we are all human who make mistakes. Dan made a mistake. We made mistakes in our process to not catch the error. We did not condone or accept either, but we will still value Dan and his contributions and are grateful for his place in the game. Thank you to the eagle-eyed fans who noticed this, and for all of you for being strong advocates for amazing art and artists. So they do recognize that the fans had to come in and catch this, but it still doesn't feel like the full apology from Dan.